Hi, I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Courtney, and this is Caffeinated Crimes.
Welcome to this Daylight Savings Sunday where everyone's sleep schedule is all messed up, especially if you have children and dogs and cats and, maybe just your own internal clock. But, it's a struggle, these time changes. Why do we still do this? I'm not feeling it. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess I slept an extra hour today. I woke up at 8:30, which I guess would usually be 9:30. But it's like, I also wake you up usually at 8:30 too, so I don't know. I don't have an internal clock anymore.
Yeah, I very much have an internal clock, and so does my baby. And, I tried to be proactive, and I pushed her wake-up time and her bedtime like 10 minutes every night for the past week. So she was on this hour later schedule. So I was like, perfect, she'll wake up right on time. Nope, woke up an hour early. So, it is what it is. We're here. It's great. It's going. Yeah.
I like this one because I get an extra hour of sleep. I don't like losing an hour. That's what I hate. That's kind of what throws me because I'm usually staying up late and getting up early, usually. So, that hour missing is felt on those days.
Yeah. I don't like the losing the hour, but I much prefer to have the hour later of sunlight, which I wish we would just stay on that schedule year round instead of this stupid fall schedule where it gets dark at 4:30 and it's super depressing and not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah, I do think depends when it is, but I might be in Hawaii for the next when it begins. I don't know.
That'll be fun.
Well, Hawaii doesn't observe it.
Oh, so then coming
now
back, you're gonna have to. Oh,
I don't even know what time I'll be leaving or coming. I don't know.
Courtney's I don't know what day it is, what time it is. I don't know where I'm at.
Maybe that's better. Just get it all done with one quick Band-Aid.
That makes sense. I would be on board with that. So yeah, let us know how you guys feel about daylight savings times. And all right, well, that's all we got today.
No, I do want to give an update in case you guys were super worried about my toe.
Everyone has been on the edge of their seat this past week waiting to hear about your toe, Courtney. So please go ahead.
It's gross.
It is. I woke up at 2 a.m. to pictures of Courtney's toe that I looked at half asleep, and I may or may not have actually responded. I don't know. I think I did in my head, but I don't know if I did actually in the text message.
It's gross. So I don't think it's broken. I don't know for sure. I mean, you can't really ever tell, and there's nothing you can really do if it is. Mm-hmm. I do believe that I have a toenail injury for sure. It's definitely cracked. And I think I might have from my WebMD doctorate, a hematoma underneath my toenail.
Oh. That doesn't sound fun.
No. So it's definitely, if you look down in my toenail, it's swollen and raised, and I can definitely see around my polish black. So I'm pretty sure if I took my nail polish off, my whole toe would just stay black. So
I also want to add that Courtney's hand motions are kind of disgusting, and I didn't even know that could be a thing, but the way she's describing the shape of this toe with her hands is a bit much.
Yeah, so it's not in constant throbbing pain like it was when we recorded last time, because I was like, I'm dying. My toe is gone. But it does still hurt to the touch, and I can't really comfortably wear closed-toe shoes. And now it's cold, and so if you see me in Chacos, just mind your business, because I'm cold and I'm in pain, and I promise, I know it looks stupid.
I think Courtney should just rock the socks and Chacos look. I really do,
If I can get a sock on, I don't know if I can do that.
To loosen your Chacos up all the way, put your socks on.
Oh, but yeah, in case you guys were wondering, the toe situation is scary. I will say, though, I had gel on my toes, and that bitch hadn't moved. So if you've thought about getting gel, I would recommend it because it looks perfect. It looks great.
That's a great advertisement right there. You should be on a commercial for gel nail polish.
I should, because let me tell you, I don't know what's going on under there, but still
the polish
looks pretty.
Polish covers everything up. It's all you need. Perfect.
Yep.
All right. Well, now that we have talked to you about daylight savings times and Courtney's toe and Courtney's honeymoon and just, all the fun things, we do have a couple of updates this week. Again, we're a few weeks behind at the time that you're hearing this, so I'm sure everyone is aware of the catastrophe that happened at Astroworld during the Travis Scott concert. Kind of mixed reports on like what happened at first. So I've seen some that basically everyone just started like surging towards the front. I've seen some that people started injecting other people with random drugs, which definitely happened. We just don't know in what order. So from what I can find, it's not clear on if that is what caused people to start surging because people were getting hit in the neck with these things, or if people started surging and then people started doing this, which I'm like, why did you just have this on you? Were you waiting for this? Did you start this event to make this happen? Like, I know specifically a security guard was like breaking everything up and like felt something in his neck and then was unconscious, and I know they had to administer Narcan to multiple people, but they didn't even know what the drug was that they were injected with, but they're like, well, let's try Narcan and see if that works.
Don't do that. Like, don't inject random people with drugs. No. Like, they might have medications they're on that could respond badly. They might be sober and you're going to make them relapse. Like, just in general. Yeah, just consent in every form, in every aspect of your life, basically.
Just a general bad idea. Please don't do that. So hundreds of people injured at this event. 8 people so far have died. I know there were, I think, about a dozen other people that were taken to the hospital, like, in pretty serious condition, so we don't know.
Including a 10-year-old, I think I read. Like, very young.
Yeah, so we do, as far as I've found at, this point on Sunday, November 7th that we are recording, I've only found a few of the names released, so we did want to read their names and remember them. So there was 27-year-old Danish Baig, who did actually die saving his sister-in-law. Like, he, inserted himself to protect her. Rudy Pina, 21-year-old Franco Patino, and 16-year-old Brianna Rodriguez. And like Courtney said, there was someone as young as 10, and I did see that some of the other deceased were around 14 to 16 years old as well. Again, I'm sure their names will be released as their families choose to have them released, but just, oh my god, just such a tragic situation. Like, I feel like especially post-COVID, everyone's so excited to, go out to these things again, and then shit like this happens, and it's like...
And, I'm very confused as to why he didn't stop the concert, too, because I saw videos of people, dancing in front of emergency vehicles, and, first responders, giving people CPR while you just hear, Travis Scott playing music. Could no one in this venue communicate and be like, yo, dude, pull it.
Cut it off. Yeah. I did see, the people jumping in front of and on top of emergency service vehicles to, prevent them from coming in. What the fuck is wrong with you that you would,
And wasn't, the crowd chanting, stop the show? Yeah. They were like, dude, stop.
So, and I mean, I'm not defending Travis Scott. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even know who he was until Andrew told me, but... So
that's a very Jacqueline move right there.
yes, that's where I'm at with pop culture. And Andrew's like, he's probably the most famous rapper, and I'm like, who? I don't know who that is. So
Bowling for Soup?
Never heard of him. So not defending him because I literally don't know anything about him, but I'm like, could he not tell from where he was? If you're on stage, the lights are in your face. What can you see out in the audience? I feel like
there was a video of him saying somebody needs help down here, somebody fainted,
and then he still kept singing.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was because that happens at shows sometimes. I mean, I went to a Lady Gaga concert where somebody had to be emergency vehicle, died and had to be resuscitated at the concert. So I could see him seeing that and being whatever. And I mean, people do scream at you while you're on stage, and I'm sure at some point you zone that out because you're you can't take it all. You can't focus. But I do think someone with the venue or the festival should have been able to be hey, dude, big serious thing happening here.
That's what I was thinking, because I'm like, someone knows what's going on. You should be able to communicate to him on stage, hey, shut this down, even if he can't see or hear, which, I mean, again, I don't know. He may have seen it and continued to perform, but also, I don't know how hard it is to know what's going on, you know, in the audience when you're on stage performing like that. But just,
I don't think it was his fault. Could have just been a miscommunication. And, like, you do see one person down and you're like, get them help. Like, you can't stop the show for, like, one person. So if you don't know this, like, mass hysteria, whatever things happening, like...
Yeah, just... Whew. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you have probably heard about this, especially if you follow the NFL. The Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver, Henry Ruggs, was in a DUI that resulted in a death. He apparently was, like, double the, like, limit. And he was also going 156 miles per hour. Yes. And he did hit a car of 23-year-old Tina Tintor. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I didn't see many places that actually said her name. So it was her and her dog in their car, and the car caught on fire. And I did hear that people tried to help her and could not get her out, which is just horrific. And
like, that she didn't die on impact, like she died in the fire.
They could, like, hear her screaming and couldn't help her. Yeah. So, which is just tragic because, I mean, 23-year-old, so young, you're just driving and this happens. So he's facing a lot of charges. He just got like additional charges added due to the injuries to his passenger. And I didn't know this until this happened, but Nevada, if it's a DUI, like resulting in a death, you cannot get probation. There's no option for probation. Like, you have to spend jail time. So he's facing, like, up to 40 years in prison. The Raiders released him. It does suck because she lost her life and his life is definitely over at this point. And I think we see this sometimes where, you know, you're young and you get a lot of money and then you kind of get famous because you're a football player and you're having a great season so far. And then you just kind of go out of control. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm defending him at all. Not at all. He's probably going to go to prison, and he probably deserves it when you're going 156 miles per hour as drunk as you were. But yeah, it's a very sad situation, like, all around. Like, I think especially now, like, now that I'm, like, late 20s and I'm like, both of these people are, like, younger than me. And, like, life over, like, both of them. So yeah, just a horrific and tragic accident, I guess. I don't know even what to call it. Like,
yeah, everything. I mean, yes, it was an accident, but also, like, he made very poor choice. Like, it wasn't like, oh, he was driving slightly over the legal limit, or he was, like, slightly speeding. Like, it's pretty, you know.
Did you see the video?
No.
There's a video, not of the accident. I don't think I could watch that. There was a video of him driving, and I mean, it is like, oof, like, insane. And it was like a residential area. Like, this wasn't like the interstate. Like, he was just, I don't even know how you do that. Like,
yeah, everything I read too said that, like, he's never been in trouble before. Like, he's never had, like, anything, and then just, like you said, made a very, very bad choice, and
please don't drink and drive. Please call an Uber. Please call somebody. In this day and age, like, it is easier than ever to safely get home. So please use those options. Like, please don't drive drunk, because, I mean, like, in this case, I don't know how him and his passenger are both still alive, if I'm being honest, like, after that kind of car accident. But, like, you could end someone's life. Like, please do not drive drunk.
If you don't have any, like, money for an Uber, like, go on your social media with your Venmo. I'm sure that someone you know will send you money for an Uber. Like, if no one is available to, like, pick you up, I'm sure if you put it out there that someone in your, like, I know I would do that if I saw someone that I knew that, you know, needed $20 to get, like, someone will do that, you know? So just...
And I'm sure there might be people you can call, or, I mean, just post it on social, like, can anyone come pick me up? Or can someone, you know... Like you said, like, just something. Like, super tragic.
Yeah. So, also, the trial for Kyle Rittenhouse began this week. If you are defending him, you're a piece of shit. If you want to come on our YouTube channel and defend him and tell us how we are starting segregation because we think he's a piece of shit, go right ahead, because that makes so much sense. Just go ahead and do it. Okay. Anyway, so his trial did start this week. So one of the jurors was dismissed for making a joke that the only reason cops stopped shooting Jacob Blake was because they ran out of bullets. This man who was serving on the jury for Kyle Rittenhouse made this joke. And then
serving on the jury that only has one black man on it, and every other black person has been dismissed, just also in addition.
Yeah, crazy how that happens. And he tried to argue that he should not be dismissed because that joke had nothing to do with Kyle Rittenhouse's trial. I'm sorry, are you fucking serious? It most definitely has a lot to do with that, because that shows exactly what your beliefs are and how you're going to lean in this jury.
I'm pretty sure I read that it was he made this joke to in the courthouse during this trial. Not previously, to a cop in this courthouse.
Yeah, during this whole, yeah. Yeah.
So, did you see what his lawyer, his opening statements, what he was saying? Did you see that video?
I did not. I'm sure it's delightful.
He was saying how he was I don't have the exact skateboard, but skateboards can be used to decapitate people.
What?
So that's what his that's what his attorney's going with here, is that he doesn't have the exact skateboard, which skateboards are generally all the same shape, all that. But they could be used with excessive force to decapitate someone. I mean, so could a butter knife, but what you doing here? So it looks like a shit show already.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't know, guys.
That's, wow. Yeah, okay.
And again, if you want to go leave nice comments on our YouTube, we will never be upset about that.
Ooh, I'm telling you. I mean, at least I can confidently say that all of the negative feedback that we've gotten so far is stuff that I'm I completely stand by what we said. I mean, and we've gotten constructive criticism, that we've made corrections, that we've had discussions, those types of things. But just the out and out, you're a piece of shit and this is why. No, you're the piece of shit and this is why. And I stand by that. So, I'm cool with that.
I don't really care. You know what? You're up in my views. You're up in my exactly. interactions. More people will listen.
Bring it on. Come on. Yep.
But speaking of nice people and not mean people, this episode was a suggestion on Instagram from one of our followers. I believe her name is Tanya. That's what the Instagram said. But if you're using a fake name, let us know and I'll issue a correction. I'll issue a correction. But yeah, we got this one on Instagram. So again, we love the fun comments and constructive feedback we get. We'll don't come at us. But if you say it in a respectful way where you're actually trying to either educate or inform us of something, we'll be open to it. If you tell us that we're feeding into woke culture, I'm just gonna roll my eyes. Anyway.
Yep.
But this one is a suggestion from her. Thank you so much for suggesting it, because this one is a crazy one.
Yes.
So our sources this week are a ranker.com article, an article from the Richmond Times, and some information from Murderpedia and a CBS News article. When Melanie Wells' parents could not reach her after she had returned from a concert with Emma Niederbrock and her parents, they grew concerned. So when police finally came to do a welfare check, they discovered 4 dead bodies and that another house guest was missing. What happened? So Farmville, Virginia is about 60 miles west of Richmond, Virginia. So this case has to do with Farmville, the city, not the Facebook game. But this is also my call for that to come back, because I would love to play some Farmville. Those were the good days.
That was peak days of Facebook before it became the shit show that Facebook is now.
All I want is for people to, like, be sharing, like, hey, can you send me some corn? And not vaccines have microchips. Like, I'll send you some corn, honey. Like,
take all my corn. I don't want to see your anti-science bullshit that you found on someone else's YouTube channel.
Yeah. So
anyway,
does not have to do with Farmville the game, although I would love for Farmville the game to make a comeback. We are talking about Farmville the city. So Farmville the city is home to Longwood University, and in 2010 it had a population of about 8,200 people, so pretty small town. So Mark Niederbrock was a pastor at a Presbyterian church in Hicksburg, and he had been born in Illinois and was an Eagle Scout as a kid. He graduated from the University of Illinois. Before becoming a pastor, he did work as a graphic designer. And he did have a daughter named Emma with his wife, Debra Kelley, but they had recently gotten divorced. So Dr. Debra Kelley was an associate professor of sociology and criminal justice studies at Longwood University, and she had been since 1994. And she also started Longwood's chapter of Lambda Alpha Epsilon. Oh, I butchered that for sure. My bad if I did. But that's a criminal justice fraternity.
Oh, I did not know those existed, so that's pretty cool.
I'm actually a part of, Lambda Alpha. I have a thing on the wall. You just pay some money and you get to join it, and you get to put it as like I'm a part of this. So I got that in undergrad, so fun.
Cool.
And she did frequently have students over for cookouts, and Emma was living with her after the divorce. Emma had been homeschooled since middle school, and she had recently discovered an interest in the supernatural and some morbid music. You know, we all kind of get that little phase when we're in high school of like, I'm going to be dark, you know, like, but she did also enjoy like the Backstreet Boys. She enjoyed watching soccer. So she wasn't like all deep and dark. Don't worry.
It's like typical, like teenager trying out all these different like interests and personalities. And that's how you find like who you are and what you enjoy and, you know.
Yeah. She did dream of becoming a fashion designer, and she liked modeling her creations to her family. She did describe herself as a goth, and she wore a lot of black. She dyed her hair bright pink, and she took up the nickname Ragdoll, which her pink hair looks pretty awesome, and I'm pretty jealous that I've never had brightly colored hair. She was very active on horrorcore websites and discussion forums, and she also regularly posted on her MySpace page. Oh, rest in peace, MySpace.
Good old MySpace.
Emma's parents were becoming concerned about her recent interest in horrorcore. I mean, her dad is a pastor, so I'm sure he's like, what you doing?
I don't know about this.
What you doing? And Emma was actually in therapy with her mom, Debra, over her like recent obsession with like blood and death lyrics associated with the genre. So they're just kind of concerned, and they're kind of like, we need to figure out like, is this just like morbid curiosity, or is there something deeper here? Like, are you gonna kill us? Emma did have a boyfriend named Richard McCroskey in 2008, though they met online and they had started dating, and they had pet names for each other's and private catchphrases, you know, like you do when you're a teenager and you think the person you're with is like hung the moon. You think they're the best person you've ever seen, and you come up with little nicknames, and you have your little catchphrases. Like, we've all been there. And they did seem to be falling in love. Richard did live in Castro Valley, California with his father and 21-year-old sister. So he was a graphic designer and amateur horrorcore rapper, and his nickname was Syko Sam. Doo-doo-doo. And it was spelled like S-Y-K-O, so I guess to go with the Sam part, you know, like super cool, I guess. And his father was a rock guitarist and introduced him to like Insane Clown Posse, Metallica, and Primus. We all know what genre I don't listen to.
These horrorcore fans are coming for you, Courtney.
I've heard of the first two, but not the third one. I am so sorry. My bad. You can write a song where you murder me, and please send it to me, and I'll listen to it, because that, you know, why not?
I feel like Courtney would love that. I mean, that's very on brand for Courtney.
Like, if you're like, I'm really pissed at you that you pronounce this name wrong, so here's me rapping about, like, killing you. Like, I mean, I'm glad I had that much time in your head that I didn't have to, like, contribute to, so.
Send it to us. We'll link it on Instagram, you know?
We'll promote you. So in high school, Richard had been teased and bullied because of his weight and his red hair. So neighbors described him as a loner, and his sister Sarah described him as mild-mannered and kind. He really wouldn't, like, fight back or defend himself unless he was, like, really provoked, so he wasn't really, like, going after people, but, like, if you kept going after him, like, he was gonna respond. Richard did have a MySpace page, because duh, it's the 2000s, and his MySpace page featured songs he wrote with violent lyrics, and dealt with subjects including mutilation, death, and the thrill of murder. And he also had YouTube videos in which he rapped about how many times he'd killed and how much he enjoyed doing it. So again, this is kind of like in the genre. But yeah. So Richard had dropped out of 2 high schools in California, and he was going through a hard time when his father asked his mother to move out. So he's not really having a great time right now, but he is very excited because he is going to have an upcoming trip to Virginia to see Emma, because they've been dating for almost a year now. So Richard and Emma wanted to go to a major horrorcore event in Michigan. So Emma's parents are a little nervous about this because, again, they're already kind of scared about her interest in this in general. So they did agree to provide transportation and accommodation to and from the event. So instead of being like, no, you can't go, and like all that, they were like, well, we want you to be safe, so we will take you and like stay with you and bring you home, which I think is very good parenting.
Yeah, like, okay, like we don't fully like, you know, support this, but we want you to explore your interest in a safe way, so you can do that, but we're going to be along for the ride.
And on their way, they even picked up Melanie Wells in West Virginia. So Melanie Wells was Emma's friend, and she was about 2 years older than Emma. So she was born to Thomas and Kathleen Wells, and Melanie and her family had moved to West Virginia from Louisville, Kentucky. So Melanie had dropped out of high school, but was studying to get her high school diploma equivalency. And Melanie was described as sweet and friendly. She loved music, and her and Emma had met online through the horrorcore, like, community. So the plan was for Richard to fly to Virginia on September 6th. So Emma and Debra did go pick him up from the Richmond airport. So they were both really excited, and they were kind of nervous. Like, you've had this huge, like, long year of being together, and now you're going to, like, see each other. But right away, things kind of seemed off. So Richard just came out, like, super open and, like, vulnerable, and he was like, I'm ready to just reveal my true self to Emma. She'll love me and protect me no matter what. He's completely smitten. Like, he's all in an extreme way. However, Emma didn't really feel this way once she met him, so she pulled back and remained mostly aloof after they met. And she did later tell Melanie that Richard wasn't as nearly as, like, cool or tough as he portrayed himself online. So, you know, online he's, like, rapping, like, I love to murder people, and I'm super tough, and I'm, like, Syko Sam, and then she meets him, and he's like, I love you, please, like, I'm a wounded little bird. And she's like, oh no.
This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah. And she also did not find him as attractive as she thought she would. So she's like, not really feeling this. And Richard had built up very, very high expectations, and he wasn't expecting to be rejected like this. So they did end up going to the event, like, after they picked up Melanie, and they did attend the event. So there is a rumor that at this event, Emma did have sex with one of the performers. This wasn't confirmed. It was kind of a rumor. Whether she did or didn't doesn't really matter. A lot of people did report that she was, like, flirting with other people and trying to avoid Richard the whole time. Like, she's, like, done with Richard. Basically is kind of the point of that. Like, it doesn't really matter whether she had sex or not. Like, she's just done with him, basically.
Yeah, she's over this relationship, basically.
So Emma, Melanie, Richard, and Debra returned to Virginia. So Richard was now in the house with Emma and her friend. So he did have to wait out the few days before his plane ticket to return to California. So he's kind of stuck here until his flight home is there.
Which is a really awkward place to be in for everyone.
Yeah, I feel like I would do anything. Like, is there any way, like, calling the airline? Can I, like, bump my ticket up somehow?
Yeah. Like I'll just...
So he was feeling hurt, and he'd been drinking and smoking weed. And it's also possible he had taken some painkillers. In the early morning hours of September 15th, 2009, he violently took a wood-splitting maul to Emma, Melanie, and Debra as they slept. So he attacked Melanie first, who was sleeping downstairs on the couch. He then killed Debra, who was sleeping sitting up in a love seat. And then he attacked Emma last in her downstairs bedroom. So there were no defensive wounds, so it appears that none of the victims woke up during their attacks.
Yeah, and then Richard remained in the house with them, which is not great. So Melanie's parents started to grow concerned when they hadn't heard from her. So she didn't return back home when expected, and they couldn't reach her. They made calls to Emma's house, but they couldn't get a hold of anyone there. So Richard left voicemails on Melanie's mom's phone, but this only made them more suspicious because they're like, okay, why are you calling me? Why is my daughter not calling me? Why are her friends not calling me? Like, who are you? What's going on? And so Melanie's father actually drove to Farmville to check on her, but no one answered the door. And so I guess they're like, I'm not like concerned enough that I'm going to like break your door down, but I'm like, can I find out what's going on with my daughter, please? So finally, Melanie's parents contacted Emma's father, Mark, who told them that he would go check in on them tomorrow. So Mark was on his way to a meeting in Richmond when he stopped by to check on everyone. So Richard met him at the door, and we don't really know exactly what was said between them, but evidence does show that Mark tried to defend himself against the wood-splitting maul, but he was soon on the floor, and Richard attacked him. And this attack was so brutal that the hardwood floor beneath Mark was damaged and just soaked through with Mark's blood. So Richard did end up moving Melanie and Mark's bodies into Emma's bedroom with her body. And at some point, Richard used a digital camera to record a video of himself. And in the video, he indicates that like he knew that he had to pay for what he had done, and he was contemplating suicide, and just, that whole, all that.
Seems like a bunch of bullshit, because...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, Melanie's parents contacted the Farmville police because they're like, okay, like you were supposed to go check up on them. Now I haven't heard back from you either. Like, what is going on? So 2 officers went to the house to check in on them, and Richard answered the door and said that the 3 women went out to the movies. And so the police bought this and left because they're like, okay, like, maybe they don't have a cell phone on, their cell phone's dead. This is like 2009, so, we're not as addicted to them as we are now. Like, okay, makes sense. But Melanie's mom called again because she's like, nope, something's not right. So they did return back to the house, and at this point, Richard had fled, stealing Mark's car. So the police officers entered the house, and the bodies were found just after 3 p.m. on September 17th, 2009. So Richard did quickly wreck the car that he was driving, and police arrived to file a report. However, they had no knowledge of these murders, that he was like on the run, that he was wanted for anything. So he was released, and he got a ride with the tow truck driver. So then he called a taxi to go to the Richmond airport, and he planned to return home to California. And according to the taxi driver, Richard spoke very calmly, like never raised any kind of suspicion, like he had no idea that anything was going on. So the taxi driver did say that Richard told him that Emma became angry with him when she caught him going through her phone and accused him of invading her privacy. So Richard claimed that he didn't want to argue anymore and just wanted to go home. So that's like what this taxi driver thinks that Richard's doing at this time. So while the taxi driver didn't report any weird behavior, he did say that Richard smelled very strongly of this terrible odor. He said it was really foul, and that he even had to drive with his windows down to like get some fresh air and make it not smell as strongly. And other people who reported encountering him during this time also claimed that he had this smell and that he just reeked of like rotting flesh. So it appears that Richard had not really showered or changed his clothes after the murders and the days that he stayed in the house afterward. His clothes were described by witnesses as caked in gore, which I'm like, how is this not arousing any suspicion?
Yeah, like you were just so dirty and, like, smell. Ugh.
Which, I mean, like, maybe they just think that, like, he's homeless or that he just doesn't have, like, good hygiene practices or something.
Like,
so
bad
it's like
body odor. I mean, that's the thing, too. Like, I've been, like, in, like, Ubers and stuff where I'm like, oof, this guy smells a body odor. But, like, I'm not going to say anything because I'm like, well, I'm not going to be rude, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe, and, like, I think this is said a lot, too, when people, like, they're like, we don't want to think we're smelling decomposing bodies. Like, your brain is going to, like, reason it away of, like, okay, well, this guy looks like he's just, like, been in the mud or some shit. Like, he's just dirty.
That's not the first thing that your mind goes to when you smell something. Yeah. So Richard did arrive at the Richmond airport, but his flight was actually not until the next day. So he's like, okay, I'm going to try to hide in baggage claim. But that didn't work. Police were easily able to locate him, and he was arrested. So Richard was indicted on 6 charges of first-degree murder, and the 2 extra charges were, like, because of just the intense brutality. Like, he, like, brutally murdered these 4 people. So, as we said before, Farmville is a very small town, so neither Farmville nor the Piedmont Regional Jail were prepared to provide the type of security that was required to house a mass murderer. Like, they don't see this kind of thing there. They were not ready for this. So a special cell was brought into the jail and placed where those coming and going from the facility had a really good view of Richard. So they're not trying to have a Ted Bundy situation where you can easily escape because you're not used to having that kind of security, you know? So on September 20th, 2010, at the age of 21, Richard pleaded guilty to 4 charges, 2 being counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of capital murder. So he took the plea bargain because he was facing the death penalty. And Richard told investigators that he killed Emma because of his frustrations of being rejected and that Debra, Melanie, and Mark were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So because of his plea deal, he accepts life in prison instead of the death penalty. And Richard's family did not attend this hearing. So, of course, the media just jumps in to blame the horrorcore shows and music and community, but many performers, members, and fans of this culture were really quick to respond. They're like, this is not because of our genre, like, this is just Richard. Like, supporters said that they only say these dark things in their songs, like, no performer's ever going to, like, act it out. Like, it's just, I don't even want to say fantasy, but, like, this other, you know, pretend.
It's like a persona, like you're stepping into, like, a character. I mean, I feel like, I mean, it's almost the same thing as, like, authors who, like, write about murders, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's basically the same thing. Like, they're not like, oh, like, you're a murderer because you write about murder. So, you know, they're like, look, I mean, I get this is weird to some people, but, like, this is just, like, something we enjoy, and we would never actually harm someone.
Yeah. And investigators also agreed that this had nothing to do with his interest in horrorcore. Again, like, he was just, like, an actor in that world. Like, his, you know, real personality was separate from that and is not the same as the personalities of everyone else involved in this culture. And unfortunately, some people also tried to blame Mark and Debra for being so accepting of their daughter's interest in horrorcore. Like we said before, they were concerned about this interest. Debra and Emma were going to therapy to discuss it, but both Mark and Debra knew that if they were too strict about it, that she would just retaliate or be defiant or, you know, rebel and do what she wanted to do anyway. So they're like, we're trying to allow her to explore this in a safe environment. I mean, if they just flat out told her, like, no, like, she would have found a way to do it anyway. Exactly.
She would sneak away, and then she could have been harmed there because she is a younger girl, like, alone at this place. Like, I think we've seen that, I can't remember the name right now. The girl who snuck to Myrtle Beach with her friends for spring break. You know what I'm talking about. I cannot think of her name right now. But it's like that, where you're like, no, and it's like, they're going to find a way to do that. Like, my mom kind of mentioned that a lot with me, with certain things where she was like, I tried to not give my opinion because I knew if I did, you would do the opposite. Or, you know, there's certain things I know that teenagers are going to do. And if I'm super strict, because she was like, I snuck out a lot as a teenager. Like, I found the workarounds and I don't want you to do that. Like, I would rather you be safe, even if it's not something I'm entirely thrilled about.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, Mark and Debra were trying really hard to keep their daughter safe, and the only person to blame here is Richard, like 100%. Like, no one else is at fault. So that is the horrific story of Richard McCroskey and the Farmville Murders and the deaths of Emma and Mark Niederbrock, Debra Kelley, and Melanie Wells. So just so tragic, so just, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I can't imagine. And it's just like, I hate people blaming stuff other than the person. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing. Like, Richard chose to be a piece of shit, basically, and be hurt that he was rejected and invoke violence. Like, it's just ridiculous. And, like, no one should be expected to be like, oh, well, you like me, so I like you back. Like, there was some podcast I was listening to recently that was talking about, like, teaching, like, women to be safe, but, like, also teaching your sons to, like, accept rejection, basically. Like, I've been rejected. I'm sure everyone has been rejected by someone, unless you started dating someone, like, at the age of 5 and have been with them forever. I'm sure you've been rejected by someone that you were interested in. You could have been rejected from a job, rejected from something in your life. And that just doesn't give you the right to go and kill them and kill everyone around them because they just happen to be there. It's just ridiculous. And it's just like such a senseless murder. Like, it did not have to happen. Like, you could have just gone home and there's probably like a million girls in California or on the internet that you could have been talking to instead. Like you literally killed someone.
Yeah, like you literally killed someone for rejecting you. Like, that's just, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, no. Like, you can be rejected and it's okay. Your ego will be fine. You will be fine. Not everyone has to like you. Period.
Yeah, teenage years are rough. Like, that's the thing. They are rough. You get rejected. High school is hard for a lot of people, but, like, it gets better. It does. As you move on, high school isn't forever. And just be like, this sucks, and feel that pain. Like, allow yourself to feel that pain. Cry, wallow, get high, drink some. Like, don't, like, drive or do something crazy. Like, just sit in your bedroom and, like, cry in your weed. I don't know.
Journal about it. You know, write some music. Just do your thing.
Yeah, like, write some songs about being angry. But, like, don't kill people and don't sit there. Like, that's my thing, too, is I'm like, and you made a video being like, I did this. Yep, I did it. Like,
and you just stayed in the house with their bodies for, like, what did you do? Like, what, are you just watching TV, like, with these bodies in this house? Like, what?
Did you eat? Like, did you just, like, go in the kitchen and, like, get food with their blood still on you?
Like, this is, like, we've heard this in multiple cases now, and this is not okay. Don't murder anyone, but especially don't, I don't know, especially because that makes it sound like any kind of murder is, you know, okay, but just, you guys know what we're saying. Just no.
It's very gross. It's very, unsanitary.
For sure.
But yeah, that is that case. Thank you, Tanya, for suggesting that. Because that one,
definitely.
It's a crazy one, and I don't feel like talked about very often.
No. Like, for something like this, you know, there's not a whole lot that's covered it. So I'm not really sure why that is. So, you know, we like to do the ones that don't get as much attention. So, yes, thank you for the suggestion. Super tragic for everyone involved. That being said, Courtney, what is your perk of the week?
Okay, my perk of the week is I downloaded this new fitness app called Obey Fitness. I've been telling Jacqueline about it and, like, ranting and raving about it. So basically, it's, like, based in New York. Like, all their instructors live in New York, and they have, like, this little Obey box, and they do their classes. So you can do live classes, and they have a bunch of live classes every day, and they put them on demand or, like, on replay, so you can go find some later if you want. But they have a lot of different types of workouts and different instructors and different lengths, and it's been super fun. And I was telling Jacqueline how they're super, like, body positive and, like, encouraging, which one of the other, like, workout people I was following is, I don't think she intends to do this, but there's a lot of, like, internalized self-hate that kind of comes out into her workouts, you know, of, like, I had a burger last night, so guys, we're gonna have to do, like, 4 hard-hitting songs in a row. And it's like, this is like, no, like, love your body, like, honor your body, like, you have to eat, like, you know what I mean? Like, don't punish yourself for eating, like, stuff like that. So it's just been super refreshing and kind of gotten me back motivated to working out, because it was really hard there for a while when I was, like, not wanting to do it. And I was like, ugh. So it's nice to have a workout I'm enjoying. And so, yes, I've been working out on my bad toe. Is it helping it? Probably not. Am I going to keep doing it? Yes.
That also makes me think of the TikTok that I sent you. I can't remember what the creator's name is, but there was another TikTok person that was like, oh, this is, you know, basically like what exercises you have to do to like burn off a number of calories in like Halloween candy. And she's like, oh, like this is the number of calories you burn putting on your costume. And this is the number of calories you burn putting on your child's costume and chasing after them. And this is just what you deserve to eat as a human being because it's Halloween and you want to eat candy, and you don't have to justify or burn off, like, do something extra because you ate candy. Like, that's no, just such a toxic mindset around health and wellness and fitness and everything.
Yeah, and I'm just sick of hearing about, like, summer bodies and all this. And I'm like, I do have a summer body because this is my body in the summer. Is it sweaty? Yes. Yeah, but it's mine, okay? This
body exists in the summer. Therefore, it is a summer body. All bodies are bikini bodies because you can put a bikini on any body. It's crazy how that works.
And the thing is, too, is, like, of course, I have a lot of, like, self-conscious issues, and I'm trying to, like, better myself. But, like, my body got me through a pandemic. Like, my body lets me get up every day and walk and work out and breathe and eat. And, like, I shouldn't be punishing her. Like, no. She got me through so much. Yes. So it's hard sometimes, but, yeah, so it just... That's a great, if you guys are interested in that, they have a lot of things where you can get like a month free and stuff like that. So if you're looking to spruce up your workouts, I do recommend that. It's been great so far. You can do the trial and then cancel it if you hate it. I mean, what is there to lose? So, but yeah, that is my perk of the week. Jacqueline, what's your perk of the week?
Speaking of fitness and loving your body, my perk of the week is the fact that it's soup season. So... Andrew is making all kinds of homemade soup. We had chicken noodle today. We had loaded potato a couple weeks ago, which is just so good. To get into a side story, because we know you guys love to hear us talk about complete and utter nonsense. I had a typo telling Courtney that we're soulmates, and I said we were soup mates. And then we just got into this whole discussion with Courtney and her sister Ashton about tiers of soup mates and where different soups fall in best friendships. And, you know, it was a whole thing. And soup is wonderful. I love soup. Yeah. And Andrew's making lots of soup. And it's soup season because it's cold outside.
Speaking of soup, I actually have the crock pot going because I'm making chili tonight. So
look at it's soup season, Courtney.
It is soup season. I do love a soup. Literally last night, we went to this like restaurant down the street to watch the UT game, and I just sat there and I was like, "Can I just please get an order of your tomato bisque?" Like, did I already eat dinner? Yes. Is this my dessert? Yes. I want some soup because I'm cold.
Is Courtney watching too much Elise Myers on TikTok? Yes.
Yes, I am. Have I turned into Elise Myers? Yes.
If you guys do not follow Elise Myers on TikTok, you need to, because she is just this magical gem that brings so much light into the world and has the best storytelling that you could ever imagine. So check her out when you check out us on TikTok.
Her delivery is perfect. If you heard the story of like the worst first date with the 100 tacos from Taco Bell, that's her, and she has more, and they're just too good. But yeah, soup season is the best season.
Yes, soup season is wonderful. And we just went down a whole bunch of rabbit holes about all kinds of stuff. So if you want to contribute to any of those discussions, also I love it when we forget what we talk about and what we say to tell us about, and then we get random messages and I'm like, what the hell is this about? I'm like, oh yeah, we did talk about that. But
also, we're going to have another password this week.
Oh.
And you are going to comment your favorite soup.
Yes. Tell us your favorite soup.
What is your top tier soup? So if you had a soup mate, a soulmate soup mate, what soup would they be? Like, what is your, like, this soup is elite, the best soup ever? I know, there's no bad soup, but there's got to be a best soup.
Yep. let us know your top tier soup mate, because we need to know that. So do that and tell us about your fitness, journey. What do you like to do? What do you not like to do? What do you like to eat? What's your favorite Halloween candy? Any of the above topics, you could do so on Instagram at Caffeinated Crimes Pod, on Twitter at CAF Crimes Pod, that's CAFF Crimes Pod. We are on good old Facebook at Caffeinated Crimes Podcast. You can send us an email at caffeinatedcrimespod@gmail.com. Again, YouTube, TikTok, follow us, leave us lovely comments, because there are shitty human beings on YouTube, so, if you want to be one of the nice ones and just throw some love our way, we would greatly appreciate it.
And speaking of throwing love our way, did you mention Patreon?
Nope.
That's not where I was going with that sentence. I was about to do the thing.
Also, if you want to, sometimes...
Speaking of throwing love our way, if you want to go to patreon.com/caffeinatedcrimes, you can become a Patreon and you can get a variety of goodies. And Jacqueline is laughing her ass off right now. And I'm trying really hard to keep this sentence together and going. But you get a bunch of goodies. You can get bonuses. We have 15 of those up. You get all of them right away. Binge them. You can get monthly Google Hangouts. You could get quarterly gifts. You could get access to our Discord channel. You can get so much on Patreon.
Where I was going with that is that we do quarterly gifts. What is happening?
Just
on Patreon, and maybe next time will be soup. Maybe we'll just send you some soup to your house. If you guys
want DoorDash
soup.
You guys some soup.
I feel like that would be the best quarterly gift. If you guys are in our Patreon tier that gets quarterly gifts, do you guys want soup?
Also, speaking of TikTok, I'm going to say good soup. Anyway, also, if you want to win a pin, a sticker, and a $10 gift card to the coffee shop of your choice that might sell soup, I don't know, you can maybe get some soup on us, do so on Apple Podcast. You can review us, give us 5 stars. Please just say something nice about us, because we're fragile little birds who just want to eat some soup. And once we get to 50, which we're very close to, we will pick one winner, and you will win that pin, sticker, and $10 gift card. Come on, guys. It can't get any easier. Please do it.
Yes, do all those things and enjoy some fucking soup.
But in the meantime, go have a cup of coffee or soup.
And don't commit a crime.